my name is Chrissy and welcome to my channel, The Return Cart. I wanted to start a series of mini discussion videos which highlight particular aspects of storytelling elements and plot devices used in novels. I'll start it off with the storytelling element, what exactly I mean when I say this element, and how it will pertain to the rest of the story, and then I'm going to give an example to that. So the first in this mini discussion is shift in tone. So all of us have particular ideas of what is going to happen when we go into, say, a movie or a TV show. Usually there's a genre that tells us what's going to happen. But even within that kind of confines, the first few seconds, minutes of a movie, TV show, or the tutorial of a gameplay kind of set the tone for the rest of that piece. Now, there is a story element called the shift in tone, which is where we think it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows, and then it turns dark and gritty and blah. For example, like we all went into Avengers Infinity War thinking it was all going to be sunshine and rainbows, and then some of us, one of us, may have left crying in the theater. The example that I'm going to use today, though, is I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. Now, granted, I knew this was going to be a thriller when I went into the novel, but I didn't know to what extent. I don't really read a lot of thrillers to begin with, and this is such a tiny book, it's under 300 pages, I didn't know where it was going to start and how it was going to shift. The first chapter of I'm Thinking of Ending Things starts with the main character she's thinking of ending things with her current boyfriend, Jake. That first chapter is kind of, well, this is how I met the guy, things are kind of going so-so, average. And this, honestly, if I didn't know that this was a thrill already, it would have set that tone of, well, it's just kind of this thing. Now, between this first chapter, and I call them chapters, they don't really have numbers, but between this first chapter and the second chapter are these kind of little snippets of dialogue that state something odd is happening, that they didn't expect him to do this. Now, they don't identify who the him is or what the acts were, but we know that something weird is going on. We can kind of say that that's the shift in tone, but I think the shift in tone happens later, and it happens in a really precise and pristine moment. And when I mean precise and pristine, I mean this was very, very deliberate on the author's part, and it was very well done. It was executed extremely well. So to set the scene, before I read a few paragraphs, the gal gets a phone call while she's on the road with her boyfriend to his parents' house. As they're driving, she's thinking about all these things from when they first got together, and whether or not she's going to break up with him, that kind of thing. Well, while they're driving, she gets a phone call. She lets the readers know that she's been getting these weird phone calls with the exact same message for a few, I think either weeks or months, I can't really remember which, but she's been getting them for a while. And they all say the same thing in their voicemails. In the voicemails that they leave. And I'm not going to read that part. Instead, what I am going to read is she's talking about pretty much the night before she starts getting these phone calls. She's lying in bed and she turns her head to the window and sees someone just standing there. So she sees them standing there, and she sees from my hand below, so their chest area. So she doesn't see their eyes, and she doesn't know whether he's standing there on purpose or whether he's just kind of there to be there, kind of just like I was walking by and I just decided to stop and this is that scene. But the longer I watched him, the more it seemed, or felt, like he could see me. Even with his head and eyes above the top of the window, it didn't make sense. None of it did. If I couldn't see his eyes, how could he see me? I knew it wasn't a dream. It wasn't not a dream either. He was watching me. That's why he was there. Soft music played from outside, but I couldn't remember it clearly. I could barely hear it. And it wasn't noticeable when I first woke up. But I came to hear it after seeing the man. I'm not sure if it was recorded music or humming. A long time elapsed this way. I think many minutes, maybe an hour. And then the man waved. The man waving is the precise moment where there's a shift in tone. It just went from, this guy is watching me, this is kind of weird, to, this is creepy, he just waved at me, knowing full well I could see him standing there watching me. That's an odd moment. That's a terrifying moment. For anyone who has been home alone at night, or even in the daytime, really, let's be honest, being alone and just kind of being there, then all of a sudden you see a person standing there, you're going to already be a little bit creeped out. Like, this is kind of odd. But the minute that person acknowledges that they know, you know, that kind of thing, it becomes menacing. And the character actually says that in the book, is that it felt menacing. And that's honestly that shift in tone. It went from, maybe he's just being a little weird, to full creep, this is dangerous. And for the rest of the novel, you feel that way with the situations this girl finds herself in. For example, when she goes to see Jake's parents, it feels odd. It feels weird. You already have that shift in tone, and you're like, something's gonna happen. Keep in mind, this is only page 18 of this novel. So this is at the very beginning, that piece that I just read. And it's already into that kind of, I feel terrified for this lady. Now, there is one moment where I felt, I don't know if most people would react the way that she reacted, and that is she closed her eyes and went to sleep. I don't know about you guys, but if some random man was standing in a window waving, I would probably just scream and cry, is really what that would get into. But I don't know if I could just go back to sleep. So yes, I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid, and I thought that was just a really good example. When I read it, it just really stuck out to me. By all means, have you read this book, or is there a book that you have in mind which has this exact same storytelling element and you think done in a really good way? By all means, comment down below, or if you think that there's a piece out there that doesn't do it very well, you can comment that as well. Thank you for joining me in this video. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you like seeing my face talk about books, hit that subscribe button. And as always, may you get lost in the book.